Okay, YouTube, this is part two of the response that I was given to is Black History Month racist. I left off where I was talking about how Dr. Henrik Clark, along with his other scholars, other black scholars, used to go out in the streets of New York and pay people to bring them up into the YMCA that was on the corner of 126th Street and Lenox Avenue, where Sylvia's is now. They used to pay people a quarter to come up and listen to them, teach about black history. Now, I already stated that Black History Month is not racist. It's just like saying BET or Black Entertainment Television is racist. Black Entertainment Television can entertain white people just as Black history can educate white people. And Black history encompasses or world history. In other words, black history is world history, or Negro history, or black history in America, Negro history, or whatever you want to call it, is American history too. So it's not racist in that sense, and Morgan Freeman is right. It's just a story that hasn't been told. Um, Now, getting back to Dr. Henrik Clark, not only did he didn't only study history from an American perspective, but he studied world history, the accomplishments of black people all over the world. Now, if you really want to teach black history or really want to know about black history, I would suggest that people learn black history from a Moorish perspective, because I just found out, like, the Moors teach that, and this is very interesting, how a lot of people, we talk about the transatlantic slave trade, but the Moors teach that it really didn't happen the way we taught that it was happening. The Moors teach that all black people did not come from Africa over to here. As in other words, we have this idea that there was no black people over here, that the history of black people in this country started with slavery when we came over here from Africa, but that's not true. The Moors teach that we as black people, or as African people, were already here thousands of years, even before a European even set sail here. There's a book called "They Came Before Columbus" by Ivan Van Sertima, that teach it's called "They Came Before Columbus," and it teaches basically that black people or Africans were here 800 years, even before Columbus came here. But the Moors teach that black people were here and set up civilizations here and established empires here that would rival the empires in Egypt. They teach that the Mississippi River is really the Nile River. In other words, the civilizations that black people or the Moors set up here was a reflection of the Egyptian civilization. The Mississippi River being the Nile River, the Empire State New York being the same as the Moroccan Empire over in North Africa. I mean, this is some black history that I'm just learning, that I just learned this a few months ago. When we say, and like black history, it began in 1926 with Carter G. Woodson. I mean, it's not like he just relegated just 1 month, but we were lucky to even get that thrown in there. But ask yourself, how effective was that when Dr. Henrik Clark was teaching from 1930 in 1933? Dr. Henrik Clark was teaching, and the 1920s, Woodson had black history. In the 1930s, the Nation of Islam came about. In the 1914, Marcus Garvey was basically teaching that black people had a history. And you got and you got people in 2001 that still don't know, we still don't know our history. So to say black history is ignorant, I mean, to say black history is racist is ignorant. I mean, it's because of racism that in 2010 you still have black people that really don't know the true greatness and the illustrious history that they have. And I'm not only talking about black history in this country, I'm talking about black history all over the world, such as in Europe. Wherever the black man was, from every corner of the planet, you can find evidence of a black man being there. Like the Moors in Spain, the Moors who were black, they're the ones who enlightened Europe. They're the ones that brought Europe out of the Dark Ages. It was black people that brought Europe out of the Dark Ages, that taught Europeans the system of governments and advanced mathematics and sciences and stuff like that. That's what needs to be taught in Black History Month. Not that a black man invented the traffic light, or it was a black man that did the refrigeration system, or it was a black man or a black woman that invented hair products. I mean, those things are good. Teach them the greatness of the advanced mathematics and sciences that black people had, and that how they set up government systems, and were the fathers of religions and stuff like that, and came up with the concept of God. That's what really needs to be taught in black history. I remember, I was asked to teach about black history, and I was on the subject of the Civil War, and why the Civil War was fought, in the issue of slavery. I was teaching some 7th and 8th graders, and when I asked them, I really couldn't even begin to teach them because they didn't even know when the Civil War took place. I asked them, does anyone know when the Civil War took place? They basically didn't know who Abraham Lincoln was. And I was shocked. They didn't know who Abraham Lincoln was, and they didn't know when the Civil War took place. When I asked them when was the Civil War fought, or do they know why the Civil War was fought, they thought that I was talking about civil rights. So somebody said 1963. And these were 7th and 8th graders. So I'm basically saying we have a long way to go, and this is the effect of this is the effect of racism. In other words, it's because of racism that you have to have a month, what you would call Black History Month. It's not that Black History Month is racist. It's because of racism that you have Black History Month. But Black history does not mean that white people can participate too. That's my take on it.